History and Modern Tendencies in Dream Interpretation. Part 2.
So what you see here is the same pyramid that was used by Freud and by Jung, but I'm putting here a completely new meaning, and we'll talk about it. The top of the pyramid, which Freud called our conscious mind, it is conscious mind. The second layer below that would be a critical mind. What it is, I'll explain in a minute. And finally, subconscious mind, where subconscious is related to everything happened to us in our life, everything that we observed in our life, all our memories or our concepts, but it's bigger than that. It's bottomless, basically, and it's connected to the universe, informational network that connects all stars, or everything that exists. So this is our subconscious. Why it's important and how it works. And now let me ask you a few questions. Did anyone have any experience of not sleeping more than 24 hours in your life? I know I did. And I know that my feeling was awful. It's like your head is burning, you cannot concentrate on anything, you kind of awake because you cannot fall asleep, or there are some circumstances that will not let you sleep right now and you still have to function, but you basically half normal. Because if anyone will try to give you any piece of information about anything right now, at that particular state, it will go just by your ears. You will not be able to fit one little bit of information in your mind because it's overflowed with information. So to make it clear for you, I'm comparing our consciousness, our conscious mind, with the operating memory of the computer. And you know how it is. You have a hard drive where maybe 4 terabytes, and you keep a bunch of information over there. And you have operating memory that helps you to navigate through your immediate tasks. And if you open a lot of windows on your screen, then your computer starts freezing, although it has a lot of power, but it cannot do more than it's designed to do. So our mind has a limited capacity. And it's, in my experience, and it's not the exact number, I think I hope to see some research on that topic, how long we can function actually without going to sleep. But I think 24 hours, that would be a maximum limit for many of us. So at that point, we need to relax and we need to go to sleep. And what's happening during that time when we are sleeping? What's happening with all that information that we accumulated over the day? It's supposed to be processed by our critical mind. So critical mind, it's our manager that opening a channel that connects our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. And in our subconscious mind, it's like subterranean area of our brain, maybe located on a cloud. So there are some boxes on the shelves with the things that we do, that we like, we don't like. For example, I like chocolate, and there would be a box with the sign label on it, chocolate. And there would be 2 stacks, pluses and minuses, next to that box, which will indicate how much I like it. And there would be like, I don't know, 3,000 plus stack of 3,000 pluses, because every time I eat chocolate, I enjoy myself. I'll die for the chocolate. I want chocolate every second of my life. So that would be indication how much I like it. Then there would be a little stack, I don't know, hundreds or 200s of minuses, because every time I'm reading some article, I notice that it's bad for my health. It might cause diabetes. It might result in me being overweight, which is apparent. And I know about it, I'm aware about it. And when a critical mind is processing my information accumulated over the day, he would put specific signs to the minuses stack and a pluses stack. That works exactly the same with people who's drinking vodka, who's beating their wife, who's smoking cigarettes or using drugs. They will have their own boxes labeled with things that they love and with stacks of pluses and minuses over there. So now, how can we fix it and how we can use the information that are provided right now? Assuming you are a hypnotherapist, what would you like to do? You want to jump into that channel basically hijacking the channel, jump into the basement without permission and go around and find the necessary box. For example, I have a person who is drinking vodka and it's causing all the troubles in his life, and he's coming and he's saying, oh, I want to be healed in one session. No problem. Hypnotherapist will do that. Hypnotherapist will put that guy in some hypnotic state by waving something before his eyes. And when the person is tricked in that hypnotic state, which is in between real awakeness and real sleep, so the channel will be open and the hypnotherapist will jump in it in a way of instructions made by voice and will say, you don't like vodka, you hate vodka. Every time you see vodka, you want to vomit. Every time you see vodka, you hate the smell. You cannot even think about vodka. So the session is completed and miracle happened. The guy is healed and he doesn't want any vodka and he feels disgusting emotions with the smell of vodka and the outrageous taste of vodka. It's just disgusting. So he healed, not so fast, because that would be a very, very quick and short in duration fix. So what will happen next? In day or two, critical mind is working constantly and he's making its audit and he's going over that basement and saying, okay, there is a box vodka. In my book, there's supposed to be 3,000 pluses, 100 minuses, but it's vice versa. Who did that? Critical mind is the accountant, basically. And critical mind wants everything to be according to the ledger. So he will change and stocks and he will restore the status quo. That's why hypnosis is never working for a short time, ever. And actually, Freud started from the hypnosis and he was very disappointed that it's not providing a long-term effect like a therapy. So now what therapist is doing? Therapist is doing exactly the same, but slowly. You know that therapy never works in one session. I don't know, with some exceptions perhaps, with some genius therapies that will use proper motivation. It's possible. However, the rule is if you have a guy in his 40s that accumulated so much love and desire for vodka, you cannot fix it and convince him that it's bad for him in one session. Not gonna happen. And in 10 sessions, probably not. You need significant period of time, because what's happening when you talking to your client, you operating with his conscious mind. It's at night when your client is going to sleep, the critical mind will be sorting the information, and whatever you said to your client will be assigned to a particular box and will go to that stock. And it will go to that stock until the quantity will turn into quality, until the information that it's bad for that guy will be prevailing information, and then the behavior will be switching. So what therapist is doing, how different it is from hypnosis, the duration and the legality. Therapist is acting with the license. It's not BBC license. It's the permission of the mind to insert certain information to the subconscious. That's what we do. That's how we work. Now, what's the difference between what we do and dreams? You remember Freud said that dreams are the royal road to subconscious. What he didn't say, that this is a royal road from subconscious to our conscious, because subconscious is part of us. Think about it like let's see. Subconscious is part of us. Subconscious, it's part of our personality. It's us, basically, just much more effective, with bigger capacity for the information and better processor. It's basically working immediately. So what's happening? Subconscious is extremely interested in our well-being. Subconscious has vested interest in our well-being, because if we're dead, there is no subconscious anymore. So subconscious is basically our angel guardian angel, because subconscious wants us to succeed, to prosper and do the right things. And subconscious knows much more than we, because subconscious operates with huge amount of information that we don't have access immediately. And so how that's happening? Subconscious is opening its own channel and going up to us, but subconscious cannot talk to us. Otherwise, it would be some kind of disease from DSM-5. So what ways subconscious has to communicate with us, its opinion and advices? Few ways: intuition, transference and countertransference, mirror images, and dreams. I'll explain. With transference, countertransference, you all know, it's happening immediately. Your client just opened the door, you didn't even hear a word from that person, and you already have some kind of reaction on that person. It might be negative or positive, and we know about it, we are aware about it. If we are good therapists, it's our bias, and we can put it aside. But what's the mechanism of it? This is our subconscious working. Our subconscious already checked all the faces we ever seen in our life, checked all the person we ever met in our life, and determined the stereotype of that person, which is bad according to our political correctness, but that's what our subconscious is doing, because it wants to warn us about something. So now that warning is coming in the way of our countertransference. We can be aware of it, but we should not act on it. But this is the mechanism what's happening. Subconscious is trying to send us a message. Now, intuition, it's understandable. I know that it doesn't need any explanation. But what about the mirror message? I'll give you an example. Long ago, when I still was in Russia, and I was very tiny, skinny, and didn't have that much weight, but I lost a lot of weight at that time, and I lost it in a certain way. My belief was that subconscious is talking to us through our image, when our subconscious wants to motivate us for some actions in our life. For example, if a person looking at the mirror and seeing himself or herself fat and ugly, it might not be ugly, but the person doesn't like himself, and the person is thinking, what can I do to change it? That would be motivational power. And that would be a message from your subconscious, because sometimes people saying, I don't eat much. Look at me. I eat very little. I eat very healthy, and I'm still not losing weight. And that's why you are not losing weight, because something else in your life is wrong, and subconscious is not happy with it and showing you in your mirror that you need to do something about it. I had a group, and I'll give you just very small example how that works. We had a woman, she was overweight, and she had a wonderful family, a husband that loved her, children that loved her, everyone was like good. And the only problem was that she never traveled outside of Moscow region, ever. They had an apartment, and they had little house in the suburb, and that was the only places where she was traveling. So what we did a meditation, and through that meditation, we've been specifically targeting the question, what do I want to do to change what I don't like? And she saw some kind of traveling agency, and she was traveling on a train. And when we started interpreting that, we come up with the concept that she wants to travel. That's the wish that her subconscious has, and she has, and she never actually gave that pleasure to herself. So in that group, and she was like, no, I don't want to travel. I enjoy my life. I don't want to go anywhere. So we chip in all together, and we bought a little trip for her from Moscow to St. Petersburg for 3 days, 3 days only. She come back, she lost about 6 or 7 kilos, which would be around 10 pounds. And since then, she started going to some small trips, big trips. In 1 year, she was completely changed person. That would be some indication how subconscious communicate with you what you need to do with your life. So now, what about dreams? Dreams is the best way how our subconscious can communicate with us. So But what's happening now, the question is why? We remember some dreams and we don't remember other dreams. And you all know that. Sometimes you're just waking up, you knew that you've been seeing some dreams and they're already evaporating, they're gone. And don't worry about it, because subconscious is the master of our dreams. And if dreams are intended as a message, you will remember it. You will stay with those dreams for days, thinking of the meaning of it because it's important, apparently. Or you can even remember your dreams throughout your entire life, and especially repetitive dreams. Repetitive dreams are very telling, and they can give you a lot of insight about the core problem of your client, regardless of what he believes is the problem. So we only remember those dreams that are important. Other dreams, as Freud said, is daily residue, basically. It's the manifestation of that process when critical mind is working with the information, sorting that information through different boxes and preserving it for our future use. So I'm basically like, there is so many things that I can say about it. I'm basically done, but I want to mention specifically certain areas, because when we are talking about dreams, it's not just for our entertainment. I hope you've been a little bit entertained today, but dreams for us, for therapists, is important from the point of view how can we use for our clients, for their benefits, those dreams? How can we use it in our therapy room? And I can tell you, there are numbers of amazing uses that can benefit our clients tremendously. I'll give you some example. I have hundreds, I think, already interviews recorded with the person regarding their dreams. They're just sharing their dreams. And it might be a long interview, short interview, 20 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes. And every single time the person will say what a little bit about themselves, they will share. But when you listen to their dreams, you know better from the very beginning, from one session, the things that are the core value for that particular person, not what he's saying, but what you need to work on, why it's happening. Sometimes in a normal therapeutic setting, you will need maybe a few sessions to get to that moment, or maybe never, because people are not eager to open their heart to you and let you go and touch with your, strong hands without gloves, the most hidden emotional moment of his life or her life. People have defenses, and cutting through defenses is the biggest obstacle in therapeutic practice. But when you ask a person about their dreams, people usually don't lie, with the exception of some psychotic individuals. They just cannot say a word of truth. But people don't lie about their dreams because they don't see how that might hurt them. So if you know how to interpret their dreams, you cutting through all their defenses through the first session. This is enormous, enormous tool. And first assessment interview done with the dream interpretation might give you so much advantage in the therapeutic process you cannot even imagine. With dreams, you can do so many things. You can cut through the defenses. You can facilitate patient client insight. You can do the determination of the hidden causes of the problem. Basically, you cannot do dream interpretation every session. That would be too boring. And you want to keep your client motivated. And if it's very repetitive, but you can use dreams to monitor the process, and you can use it sometimes to adjust and see how it's working. You can use dreams to remove fear and build self-confidence. You can use dreams to help people to get in control of their life. And I'll give you an example right now. On our last supervision, I don't remember the name of the person. She was telling us about the client she's working with who has out-of-body experience, and she's terrified with that. So she's basically afraid to go to sleep, I assume. What can be done for that particular client? For example, If you cannot jump into the dream of that person, you can always meditate with that person. So what needs to be done first here, you probably need to normalize that out of body experience. And how you do it, you do special meditation, and you don't start from the beginning telling the person, please imagine that, imagine this. You relax the whole body of the person first. Let the person enjoy that feeling. Let the person feel that it's safe and secure, and then ask that person to look at this body from the top of the ceiling, for example, and make it nice, make it soft, and remove that horrifying moment of horror for that person to seeing her own body from outside. And then there are many things that you can do, but you can teach a person how to manage that dream. You can teach the person how to get out of the dream if the person is going through the horror dream, because it's his dream or her dream, and that person can manage the dream just exactly as that person can manage a life. And you know that the experience that our clients are getting throughout the therapy, this is the experience that is so valuable, because they can get that experience and extrapolate it to their normal life outside of the therapy room. Here, you can teach a person how to get that valuable experience of confidence, of control within their own dreams. And believe me, it's working. I've done that many times, and I started from myself. So if anyone is interested, I can share it with you. But this is one of the examples how dreams can be used in our therapeutic setting. Do we need to interpret dreams? Do we need the interpretation at all as a tool? It depends. It depends, because be careful of any interpretation. We are not fortune tellers. It's not our goal to explain what dreams means. It's our goal to figure out what our client is suffering from and help him to overcome that. So the dream interpretation, it's a nice combination of words, but we are not exactly doing that. And we should be very careful about it, because by interpreting something, especially if you think that this dream is not good, and it means that your client is waiting for some troubles or something bad supposed to happen, we never want to say that. We never want to embed in their mind some negative picture of their future. Because words are powerful, and words have potential of creating our future and program our mind. So interpretation is possible. If we have to go through the interpretation, what should we pay attention to? We definitely use symbolic interpretation, everyone would be using, but it should be very specifically tailored to the spirituality of the client. Because if you're dealing with a Muslim client or Hindu client or Christian client or agnostic client, it would be different interpretation. And you should be aware and mindful of that, because doing something wrong will just cause a rejection of you by the client and failure of the therapy. Second, the main principle of dream interpretation, keep in mind, when we have a visual and how we have visual in our brain, the energy from the light of the subject in real life going through our pupil in our eyes, and then is reversed in our retina behind our eyes, and then it through the optic nerve is going to the brain, and then the picture is created. For some reason, the transformation and this rotation of the image back and forward is very specific to our brain. And the same, although our picture in the brain related to the dreams has completely different mechanical process, it's still going through the optic nerve. And the transformation rule is working. Nothing in the dreams is what it seems to be. Basically, if you're laughing in the dream, you might be crying in real life. So if you want to go to the gypsy way of interpreting, that would be a rule that you should never forget. This is important, and I believe, and I need probably to read some more research of our biologists and physicists, why it is, but it's a known phenomena. It was studied and it's there. Then you pay attention. You don't pay attention to the screenplay, to the content of the dreams. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant who you see. If it's your friend or person you know or person you don't know, it's irrelevant from the point of view of personality, particular person, but it's relevant from the point of view of identification. Woman, man, children might have different meanings, but screenplay itself is totally irrelevant. How, like the screenplay, the context of your dream would be only relevant if you are a receiver. There are few people receivers. Do you want me to explain that? I'll give you some example.
Yes.
I'm sleeping and I'm seeing myself ordering coffee for breakfast from Sears. And I'm sleeping and I'm thinking, why I'm ordering coffee from Sears? Sears is not selling any coffee. And then I'm waking up with that strange question to myself. And then my husband is telling me that he was dreaming the whole night that he was ordering parts. My husband is car mechanic, so it's natural for him. He was ordering parts for car from Sears. So how Sears come together for him and for me in my dream? That this is one of the examples. Another example, I'm sleeping and I'm dreaming, and suddenly I hear a voice, and the voice is telling me 1952. What is that? Tell him, the voice is saying, tell him. And I'm waking up with that number in my head, and my husband is waking up and I'm telling him 1952. And he's saying, how do you know? What? He said, I was buying an antique car and I was wondering what year it is. And then I read it on the description of the car. It was 1952. So things like that. I have many different examples, but that would be an indication that the person is a receiver. So you work as a human antenna, and there are tons of information in the universe, and we know about it. It's already proven by the scientists. We don't need to guess about it. So somehow, accidentally, you can be attuned with some information that jumps into your dream. And in that way, it might be meaningful. So you pay attention to the items that you see, you pay attention to the voices you hear, you pay attention to the emotions you experience. And that would be the way how you interpret dreams if it's necessary. So now, when we're coming to an end, basically, I want to answer a few questions that I said at the beginning, prior theories couldn't answer. So what is the purpose of our dream? It's not the compensation, and it's not the fulfillment of your wishes. Basically, the purpose of our dream to provide a channel of communication for our subconscious with our conscious. And what is the goal of that communication? To support our emotional well-being. Remember, I told you that our subconscious has vested interest in our well-being. So definitely support our emotional well-being, facilitate our decision-making process, because subconscious is giving us so much tips to help us. Then subconscious wants us to focus our attention on the area of our life that needs some changes. So that would be the purpose of our dream. And if we spend a third of our life in our by dreaming and going through this, that would be a very decent purpose to pursue. Then what's the purpose of our sleep? Why do we sleep at all? Because we need to restore our functioning, clean up our operational mind, our operational memory, and to provide us with the opportunity to explore the universe. I didn't even touch this moment today, but believe me, there are so many people that are traveling in their dreams through the universe. They're going to another stars. How do we know if it's true or not? How do we know? Do you know that our vision is limited to 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers, which I don't know exactly what, but I understand that there is something before 400 and something after 700. So our vision is very limited, and we can see very little spectrum of the reality that is before our eyes. We also can only detect 100 colors, and the scientists saying that there are more than 100 million colors. So imagine if only on that issue, if we will turn our ability to see real life with all possible spectrums available over there, maybe we'll see different dimensions. Maybe our dream is the fifth dimension. Why people who are traveling in their dreams, experiencing that as a very real occurrence. I'm not going over there right now, but what if our dreams is our real fifth dimension? What if we will learn how to use it? What if we can travel through times, through universes, just being in our dreams? Maybe it would be the biggest discovery in the future. So that might be another purpose of our sleep. And we should be mindful of it, because, you know, there are things that we know, there are things that we know we don't know, and there are things we don't know we don't know. And our life, like the goal of our life, to make that thing that we don't know, to make it smaller. So we need to try to explore the universe and learn as much as we can about it. Why we forget about dreams, and why we remember other dreams? Or because that's what important for our subconscious, we will remember. That's what our subconscious intended as a message, we'll remember. And don't worry about those dreams that you don't remember. And finally, where our dreams are coming from, I think I gave you some clue about it. My idea is that it's coming from the universe, and that our subconscious is bottomless and connected to the world. So this is the end of my presentation today, and I'm very grateful for you to be with me for that long, to listen to me. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for, well, I feel like my mind has been expanded, and I hope everybody, gosh, I wish more people were here to hear this, but, you know, it is as it is as it should be. So we got this today, and it'll expand our knowledge and our experience. And yeah, I think we need to give Natalia a hand. Let's all show her.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that.
I have one question.
Yes?
What happens if you don't have any dreams?
What?
I said, what if you don't have any dreams? Like, I don't remember the last time I've had a dream. Like, it's been years.
According to French researchers, they're saying that you have dreams, you just don't remember it, and there might be reason for that. And if you wanna figure out why you are not seeing dreams, I know some people blocking their dreams intentionally. Sometimes it might happen besides your desire. So meditation, like specifically designed to discover that issue, might be very helpful.
Okay. Cool.
I have a question, Natalie. Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, can you hear me? Thank you very much. It was very nice information I got. You told us few times we can manage the dream. Could you please let me know a little bit more how manage that? How can we manage the dream, like in your idea?
First, you have to come up with that idea that and go through that with your therapist or whatever, that you can manage the dream. I'll give you an example how that happened to me. When I started developing my theory on dreams, thinking about it, I had some horror dreams in my life, and I was thinking how to handle it. And I remember one dream, it was pretty recent. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and I rarely see her in my dreams. And it was the day when I saw her in my dream. It was an apartment where somewhere in Moscow, and it was a weird combination of two different apartments where we lived. So it was mix of that. And my mom was in one room, and I was in another room, and suddenly someone is knocking the door, and it's middle of the night. So I'm yelling to my mom, "Mom, don't open the door." But sure enough, she's jumping out of her room, and she's wearing some strange sport pants, which she would never wear, and some t-shirt that it's totally not, but I know it's her. And she's running to the door, and she's opening the door, and there are two women. One tall woman, very tall woman, and another short, and she wearing some raincoat, and she's turning her back to my mom and like bending down and kind of pushing with her ass my mom inside of the apartment. And the other woman at that moment going around and walking toward me, and I see her face, very pretty face, but her eyes is so intense, and I have no doubts she wants to kill me, and she will kill me right now. And I'm horrified. At that moment, I'm telling myself in my dream, I'm telling myself, it's your dream, take a hammer and hit her. And this dreamer, I'm giving myself inside of the dream a hammer. And I'm taking that hammer, and I know the next moment what will happen. I will hit her over her head, and she will die. And I don't want to deal with it because it would be, but at that moment, I'm absolutely in control of my dream. And I'm waking up, not because it was biologically necessary, but because I wanted to wake up. I didn't want the dream to continue, but I took control over the dream with getting that hammer from myself. It was very interesting experience, and you can teach that people.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting. Other questions? I think this is the category of not knowing what we don't know.
Absolutely.
We're trying to process.
Yeah.
I have well, just like a comment. It's not really a question, but I'm kind of glad that you brought that up there. Like, you can control your dreams while you're in your dreams, because I don't know a lot of people that can do that, and I've done it a few times already. And it's not just with like horror dreams. So that's really interesting, because that's also like an extra thing, you know, of all that unknown stuff.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
There is, I should tell you, there is a tribe. There was a tribe, and I believe they still in our American Indians that are experimenting with the dreams. They are when they have some issues in their tribe and they want to resolve it, they want to join their forces, so they have a ritual for that. They're sitting around their fireplace, and they're smoking something. I'll give them that. But what they're trying to do, they're trying to go into the dream together, and they create some kind of scenario, like they fighting maybe some enemy, and they have to prevail. This is the goal, and they go into the dream together. And apparently, according to them, it's possible. I was reading a lot of memories and information and researches about that particular tribe. It's fascinating. There are so many things, as I said, that we don't know.
Natalia, I have a question. I read somewhere, right now I can't remember where I read about this, but I think it was in a book I have about trauma. And one of the suggestions for people to ponder, like, you know, have a client that was wondering about, you know, her self-worth and her self-esteem was low, and, you know, who am I? So I read that right before you go to sleep, when you're just ready, you know, you're all ready to go to sleep, quiet, everything, lights out, that if you think about something, if you continue to think about something, focus on something, like say, who am I? That will help stimulate a dream that will help you reveal something about yourself, or, you know, about that topic. Have you heard that before? I just don't remember.
This is so true, and this is so accurate. And as a matter of fact, I'm going every night into my sleep and I'm asking specific question. You can, but for some people it's easy because I'm doing that for years and I'm trained and I understand. I train myself. But some people having difficult time to do it on their own, you can help them to get that skill through the meditations, and it's extremely helpful. But I should tell you one thing. I wanted to mention one of my professors. He was amazing professor. He was teaching at Argosy, and he was doing dream research for his entire life. Why I believe that we connected with the universe. There are many examples. He gave me one example. He was doing his dream diary for 30 years. It's a determination, right? So sometimes you see a dream and you don't understand the meaning of it. So one day he was going over his records and he saw that on 9/11, he saw a dream, like day before 9/11. He saw a dream and it was extremely hot fire, like fire, just that's all he saw in his dream. Fire and heat and fire. And he didn't understand at that time. He just put it in his notes and forget about it. Then, in a couple of days, I believe, 9/11 happened. And then years later, he was going through that record and he realized that somehow he was catching on that future event. It's very interesting example. And, and many people who doing their dream diaries and who are interested in that may provide you with other examples as fascinating as this one.
I just wanted to make one more comment real quickly. I was intrigued that you had Edgar Cayce in your research, because my mother, she used to read Edgar Cayce, and I didn't know anybody else that knew about it.
I know about it.
Oh, you did? Okay, maybe we've talked about it before, but I said, what? Edgar Cayce? I know who that is. Anyway, it tickled me anyway. And I dream a lot about my mother, who passed away many years ago, but I dream a lot about her, and they're always really beautiful dreams.
Wonderful.
So I think
that's good.
Universe.
I'd like to share one of my dreams. May I share a dream?
Absolutely, please.
Okay. I had the dream over years, and it entailed, I was in my house, in a house, my mother's house, and I would go into a walk-in closet, and my mother didn't want me in there. And in my dream, my mother doesn't want me in this walk-in closet, and I go in there, and it has one of those pull-on lights on the ceiling. And way over in the distance in this closet, there's this little tiny door that I managed to open and get inside of this door. Whereupon, from dream to dream, I would find any number of things, artifacts, things that jewelry that you would give down from generation to generation. And I would find these things, and this dream went on for years and years and years, and I could really never make heads or tails of it. The feeling was, one, I'm finding something really valuable, and the other thing is I better not get caught by my mother. Okay, years later, she died, and I immediately knew the meaning. The meaning came to me that my mother was very cut off emotionally and didn't show her emotions or much in no kind of love or hugs, kisses, anything like that. But I intuitively knew that there was a lot of good in her, but she was very reluctant to show that. She had things happen in her life that she was shut off, very shut off. And so what I attributed to this dream was that there were valuable attributes in her
gonna cry. She had very many attributes that she couldn't or wouldn't share, but I knew they were there, and she really did want me to know they were there, but she just couldn't show them to me.
What an amazing dream. Thank you for sharing. So beautiful.
And I haven't had that dream since. That dream was taken care of.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dina.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.
Sharing that. That was beautiful.
Thank you for sharing, Dina.
Thank you.
Lot to
No,
think.
thank you for opportunity to present it. It's my favorite topic. I presented it first time today, and I'm so glad that I have such a friendly audience. It's very important. And yeah, I feel so much support from you guys. Thank you so much.
The end.